Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good evening, everybody. It is the 28th of May. Man, what a session. I tell you what, when this started and, I was pretty subdued trading today, I did end up catching something. I wasn't like super excited about it, but I did okay today. But, I kind of thought that it was just going to be a boring day. And really for most of the session, even though it was up, I did feel like it was a little dull. But when I was looking at the data, it was really, really very interesting. So let me show you a couple of things that have been going on. First of all, of course, the context here is that we came in, not really a whole lot of change in sentiment in the overnight session. Asia was a little bit held back because of the China trade war stuff. I don't even know if we can call it trade war anymore, but overall coming in, there wasn't a whole lot of a change. And of course, we had the GDP and unemployment numbers. So we were waiting for those. Come in, GDP was slightly under expectations and unemployment claims was slightly more than expected, but they were mostly in line with expectations. I noticed a couple of people online saying, oh yeah, GDP was 0.2 points worse than expected, but like it's all okay, whatever. Come on. When you're talking about that wide of a range, like when we're talking about a negative 5% number on something, spot 2 is like nothing. So mostly it came in line, and so that meant that the overall sentiment that we've been seeing, which is buying, was going to continue. Because honestly, after yesterday, who wants to sell this? Really, who wants to sell this? And yet, that's where it gets interesting. So let's come over to our footprint chart. I really like to show the footprint chart at the end of the day. Take a note of the cumulative deltas. So here, it's reading, of course, this is a continuous cumulative delta that it gives me. So where it starts at isn't necessarily important, but here we can see here, starting on the first hour, it is negative 3,648. And when we get to the high of the day, it is negative 9,000. It is negative 9,000. You are blurry in the afternoons and my Chrome is still wonky, says Winston. Maybe have you been partying too much? Is that what it is? Anyways, this is what we're seeing in the data is a little bit more clear if you just look at the cumulative delta. So here's my other chart. Do you see this cumulative delta starting from really the whole extended session? They were selling it the whole time. What the heck? The futures were selling it the whole time. Can you believe that? It's so bizarre. Another thing is just when you look at the internals, like the up volume versus down volume. So this is basically saying that volume on declining stocks was more than the volume on inclining stocks. That's what that UVol minus DVol indicator tells us. It also tells us that for most of the day, there was actually more declining stocks than advancing stocks. So we're seeing some rotations and stuff. There's been a lot of talk about this move over to value from momentum names. And that maybe that could have something to play with it. But in general, there is kind of like a feeling of distribution to this. I think that there could be. And so anyways, they were selling it the whole time. And then what happened at the end of the day? They came in and Donald Trump was going to do a press conference on his executive action on social media companies. So, of course, Twitter and Facebook got hit quite hard. But then they didn't want anybody to think that this had anything to do with China or that they're going to talk about China. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And when the market heard that there was going to be a press conference concerning China tomorrow, and the thing was, it was really bad timing. He came in and he said it like 30, 40 minutes before the close, and it was, a press conference that was going to go into the close on the equities. So anybody that was long was basically was like, well, there's no point in me waiting for the close. And so they all liquidated their positions. But then that kind of created a real imbalance here because, I mean, come on, look at how much long volume there has been. I mean, they're buying it. They're buying it, even though the cumulative delta is negative. There's a lot of people that bought it up there, and they just got dumped on. They got dumped on. Leandro Matias says, I was also selling the whole time, but got tired and got stopped out more than 6 times. Wow, really? See, for me, I'll show you. Because, I mean, that's basically the news for the day. There wasn't a ton of things. I still have this set up to show me everything. So those were the orders that I took today in the micros. So I took a really tepid one, and then there was one that I probably sat in for way too long, but I was buying it off of the open, and they were going down, and I bought it. Eventually, I bought it, and I caught a good one, and I took it off because it was getting boring. But it went up. I could have held it all the way up to the top if I had really wanted to. But I got what I was looking for, and I skedaddled out of there. Today's action, though, was incredibly choppy. They were stopping people out. And this is where I'm like, a lot of people are saying, like, just buy it. But that kind of action really concerns me. Like, it's not like that there's not reasons for the markets to be up. And we've discussed this on the market recaps before. There is definitely a reason for the market to be up. There are inflows coming, there are rotations coming, and that is creating a really massive reevaluation of the stock market that is kind of a very disconnected from a lot of the things that we're seeing in the overall economy. And so in the short term, they can move up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we come back tomorrow and we have an update. Okay, so I do think that when you look at all the flows, that the fundamentals and the price action, they really can't get very disconnected from each other. But what bothers me is how it does it. How it does it, really choppy action, a lot of stop hunting, and a lot of buying the dip. Like, it'll get like really scary and ugly, and when everybody's deciding to get short, it'll just like perform some miraculous recovery. That to me is a strategy that is based on ignoring risk. They're basically saying when things look the worst, and then get in. And it's basically a meme at this point, right? The Federal Reserve has instigated traders to start trading recklessly. And quite frankly, and I hope none of you guys were on the losing end of that, but quite frankly, I'm a little happy that everybody got busted out at the end of the day like that. Next time, maybe hold a better stop, manage your risk a little bit better, because people were getting a little bit crazy there. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or anything, I've got a couple more minutes. I try and keep this short, but I think otherwise, I'm gonna give you like 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Was there anything else that we needed to cover? Well, let's see what the I didn't really check. I didn't really do as much preparation today because was having a lot of support issues at work. Okay, so tomorrow we get personal spending, personal income, core PCE price index. So these are really, really important numbers for treasuries, Chicago PMI, also an important number for really everybody. Remember the Chicago PMI, let me double check here. Yep, Chicago PMI, that is the funky one that is released 3 minutes early to subscribers. So keep an eye out for that one. That always is really interesting because a lot of traders forget about that. And then inflation expectations and Powell speaking at 9 a.m. as well. Wow. So we've got a packed news day tomorrow. And then after we had all of this stuff, man, it's crazy. I locked in my refinancing mortgage rate at 2.75. Well, that's not too bad. I think that's better than what they were quoting to me. Please hit like. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. If you would. So after I end streaming, It'll take a minute for, it'll take like 30 minutes for the video to process, but come back and leave your comments about what you thought about the day, what you thought about the recap, because again, I intend this to be like, watch it before you go to bed sort of a thing. So the engagement that we get on the video will be a big deciding factor on whether we choose to continue doing it or not. But I appreciate it. There's lots of people watching it today, so thank you guys very, very much. I will see you tomorrow morning. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.